Hello, welcome back to All for United WFC. Apologies, I left that thumbnail a little bit longer than expected there. Bloody Barry making me laugh right from the off. That's what was going on there, because I can see them all when the thumbnail. That's what was going on there, which was why I held that a little bit longer, trying to recompose myself, ready for the go live, of course. Hello to everyone in the chat. There's so many of you already. Look at you all. Gee. So great to have you all back. Get all your thoughts and opinions in. We'll go through those as we go through the show. The player of the match poll is already in the chat. I'm getting quick at this now. That was on before the intro had even played then. So make sure you vote on the poll. We'll come back to that towards the end of the show as well. But yeah, how is it? Firstly, let's go to the other debutants on the channel. I said we're going to have a couple this season. Sophie, that was the other week. So Beth, firstly, welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming on. But how are you doing over there? And you are on mute, by the way. I did put you on mute if you have.
Sorry, I didn't realise. I'm still getting used to it. It's not something I've used before. So, yeah, I'm all good over here. Yeah, I don't know. Here to make my debut and just see how it all goes. And yeah.
So we had a debut on the pitch yesterday, Jess Park. Is this we're going to see another kind of performance tonight?
I can't promise anything like that. No. Well, yeah, it's something to try, isn't it? And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and get everyone's thoughts on everything.
Yeah. No, well, we are delighted to see you on the channel, that's for sure. Straight in there. For anyone who was at the game yesterday, it was, well, you can see it on the cam and also the video that United tweeted as well after the game. It sounds like they're underwater when the players walk around the pitch with the microphone and everything. It was horrendous rain yesterday. Someone actually replied to the All for United tweet saying it's only a bit of rain. I'm like, all right, I wasn't saying that much, but it was pretty torrential at one point. But anyway, didn't affect the game too much, or not in a negative way from my point of view, that's for sure. Barry, Charlie, both good?
Yeah, good, thanks. Watched from home this weekend because my son had a birthday party, which was a bit frustrating. Yeah, weather was interesting. It was borderline one of those games where, a bit like Kes won it, where they kick the ball and then run over it. So not to say glad I wasn't there, because I'd always rather be there. But if you're going to miss one, you're happy to miss the one where there was a monsoon. But well done to the over 4,000 people that showed up, though.
Yep, no, all good. Absolutely superb. Very happy. Listen, United, top of the league. End it now. Stop. That's it. Don't need the rest of the season. We can wait until next year. No problems. Stop it there.
Indeed, it is nice to be top. We were top of the league last year, though, but only for like a few hours when we beat West Ham at the start of last season.
Do you remember that year when we were genuinely first and so were the boys for a little while? When Tobin Heath and Kristen Press were there, it was like halfway through the season and we thought that we were going to win both leagues.
Didn't quite.
I'll be honest with you, another reason I'd like to stop it is because Everton are third and Chelsea are fourth. I mean, the lows I've got out of that, even better.
Yeah, it's a funny old table at the moment, but there we go. Just very quickly as well, welcome Phil. I see you get a lot of love in the chat as well. From there's a good bunch in the chat as well. I'm sure. Well, they're all making you feel welcome, so I can see all the replies as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy the show. It's great to have you here.
Nice to see someone's dressed up for the occasion as well.
I was going to say, yeah, that's one hell of a suit. I feel like on the next show, I'm going to have to like dress up now to kind of match that. And there's going to be a lot of shows just for people interested over the next few days because we've got a lot of games coming on. So between reactions and previews and all kinds of things in between, there's going to be a lot of shows over the next couple of weeks, which is going to keep us a lot busy than normal as well. Travel. There's a lot of people talking about the rain now. The last time I felt so sorry for the people sat on the front row. I said that about around half time to the people I was with, because you could just see everyone moving from the front further and further back. But obviously, if the stand's full, you can't go anywhere. So some people had to stay at the front. Got absolutely soaked. So I did feel sorry for them, to be fair on that one. But there we go. Yeah, I don't know what all that was about. That wasn't the reason we were all stood together. But yeah, they cut off the corners in North Stand. Don't know what was going on there. But yeah, there was some red tape, so you couldn't get into the corners of the North Stand, which bunched everyone together, which is a bit strange. But there we go. Right, let's quickly talk about the lineup as we do in every single show. And I think this is not going to be a long discussion because we don't have anyone else. Is probably the phrasing I'd put on this in terms of the bench. I think when we tweeted it and United tweeted the lineup, the first response was 5 players on the bench when most teams have a lot more than that. So Beth, I'll start with you. Is there anything you would have changed, if anything, to do with that 11/bench that we had?
I mean, it was just more the shock of the bench. As soon as it came out, I was looking at the actual starting 11 and thought, oh, we've got a good team here. As you then look at that bench, you're like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? Obviously, we knew a lot about like the little like niggles. I'd say they're not like major injuries, or they don't look that way. Luckily, at the minute, but I guess it's one of those. Should certain players be playing for, you know, like the under-21s, or should in these times should we be bringing them out? I mean, you could look at the transfer window without bringing that up again, as well as to if we. I don't want to say if we knew these problems were going to happen, because you're never 100% sure. But why are we not trying to prevent squad depth at the beginning of the season? Which I know, obviously, we've got certain games this week as well, but we knew this was going to happen, so why are we letting this be a problem?
I think that's a good point. So for people who didn't realise as well, so the bench that was against Hammarby, it had players like Scarlett Hill, Kayla Reynolds, obviously another goalkeeper, and Jess Anderson. All three of those played for the under-21s yesterday. They played against Wolves, which is why they weren't in the squad, and the bench looked a lot thinner than what it was in Sweden. Yeah, Charlie, Barry, over to you. Same kind of question.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point from Beth. It's a strange one, isn't it? I think. And again, you sort of look at it as a little bit of an opportunity missed for some of those younger players coming through, particularly when it got to 4-0 and everyone's a little bit it's slippy. The weather's not great, and you've got Jade, who we have to look after. I think we have to manage her carefully to avoid injuries. Bizet, there's obviously Parks come in, but as an out-and-out right-sided midfielder, Bizet sort of holding the fort there, isn't she? And obviously with Terland as well. So yeah, it is strange. I mean, obviously the Wolves game was on the same day, wasn't it? But you just filter players up, don't you? So yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that until now, but I think that's a really good point to make. It's a shame that again they didn't sort of get that match day experience at Lee, having been there for the qualifiers. I was really, not that we had any other options necessarily, other than perhaps Bizet on the left and Nelson being on the right, which she had been a little bit in the qualifiers. I was really pleased to see that Malard was fit enough to start, and I thought she played really well, because I think the 2 games against PSV and Hammarby, she's shown real flashes of brilliance and what we kind of think she is capable of. So to see her playing on the left, and then the impact of Bizet then having to be on the right, which is what we want, I was really pleased with that. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I loved Melvine's link-up play. Again, with Toone, I thought that was brilliant, and Sandberg, really good to see.
Oh, that'd be me, wouldn't it? So, like you said, it was the easiest one ever to pick, even when you look at the bench. Lisa Nelson was never going to start. Jess Park was never going to start, because, you know, you can't do that really. Come straight in within days, be starting. That wouldn't have been a great thing to do at all. And of course, Millie Turner was never likely to start either. So I don't think anybody on the bench really had a claim staked for the starting berth. But I am going to fast forward to the end. It's killed me that, again, yes, we only got 4-0 late on into the game, but how Mara Griffiths hasn't got onto that pitch, I am never, ever going to understand. I mean, I don't understand the psychology. We've brought on Jess Park, we brought on Lisa Nelson, we brought on Millie Turner. The changes, I think, were all fine. I've got no problems with that. How we haven't turned round, even at 2-0 against the Leicester side that we are absolutely bossing, how we haven't turned round there and said, let's bring on Mara Griffiths. Let's look after Elisabeth Terland. She scored 5 goals. It's a little bit chilly out there. She's wet. Let's get her, get a blanket around her, get her some hot chocolate inside so that she's all right for Thursday. No, let's not do that. Let's just keep her out there. It's insanity. And probably the only dark spot, I think, for me in the entire game.
I think it's a good point. I was actually going to mention that, so we may as well just talk about that quickly now. And I think this is the problem when you have the depth that it has, and what started this discussion when I asked Beth the question about, Hill and Anderson, who were on the bench in Sweden and then play for the 21s. I get why, because they need minutes. So if they're going to play a full game versus maybe 10 minutes at the end of the game, I get that. But when we're at this is not a permanent thing. This is probably the last chance, really, with the players that are coming back potentially next week, where they could have got minutes. And I think they should have. And like Charlie said, the pitch was slippy as anything. Players were kind of slipping and sliding. anything could have happened in those last few minutes. And I think, why not? I don't know. I think when you've got Malard Griffiths on the bench, I know that she's only just coming back into the side anyway, but I don't know. I know that Skinner talks a lot about developing players and bringing players through. I think we're still yet to see it. I still don't know a player that he's brought through and developed and just gone into the team, because Malard Griffiths came in, scored a couple. We haven't seen her since. So I don't get it, to be honest. It just seems like, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to get onto the positives, of course. We won 4-0, but I want to get that's a good thing to get out of the way, actually, in terms of why she didn't come on. But I think in terms of the bench, this just goes back to the window and our lack of depth. You get a couple of injuries, which we're going to have this season. You're not going to have a fully fit squad all the time. I don't think any team has that.
Do you think he's making a point? Is he making a point? I don't know. Well, like, you could have stopped when you said Skinner talks a lot. Like, you could have stopped there. He's mentioned a couple of times, hasn't he, in press conferences about, not explicitly, but commenting on the transfer window and saying we didn't get things over the line and now it's all about winter transfer window. Is he making a point at the expense of having available changes on the bench, which I would argue is a little bit reckless potentially, but it won't be the first time a manager has done something like that. I'm not saying I think it would be the right thing to do, but there could be an element of that as well. Obviously, not to be a total Debbie Downer, because we did smash City 4-0.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, well, it could be. He was pretty vocal about it in the press conference. I know he got asked about it a couple of times, but, I mean, if the money's not there for him, it's not his fault as such. But I do think it was a bit of a message in his press conference before the Leicester game about it. And, well, we just got to hope that we can get to the winter window in a good position and then add the players that we maybe should have added this summer in the winter window, because it's going to be a long old season if we don't, with the squad that is there, and potentially 4 competitions. From Thursday, it's four games in 10 days. It's a lot of games with the squad where it's at.
But my only thing is, how can we say, okay, I know we don't have the money of, say, like Arsenal and Chelsea, but after the winnings that we got from the Sevens, it feels like almost nothing's been spent, really. We've basically made a profit from the Clinton and Park swap, and it feels like we're holding back. I get the whole, like, trying to bring people in the winter window, but if anything, now's the time we need them, without sounding pessimistic in that way. If we carry on this way, we're not going to make it even through. Well, I don't want to say through to the Champions League, but we're not going to make it past that first level. And why are we holding back is basically my question.
But what I would add to that is that I think people are right, but we are very much in a situation where, again, it's the generation we're in now. Everything is instantaneous. Do you know what I mean? If I wanted a pizza, I had to go through the drawers, find the thing that had been delivered through the door that had all the pizza stuff on. I couldn't just go on my phone and order it through an app. Everything took time. You wanted a book, you couldn't just download it on Audible. You had to wait for the library to be open, and provided nobody had closed it. All of these things took time. And maybe that's part of the reason why I don't get quite so angry and upset, because part of me, although everybody knows how badly I want a right back, I almost feel like Skinner was talking directly to me in that interview when he started bringing up a right back, because actually what I like about what we've done in this transfer window is we're not just signing people for the sake of signing people. We look how many players we brought in that then, don't ever come out from the covers. They're just stuck on the sidelines, not doing anything. I actually think in this case, what we've really done is made, I think, a good decision, rather than just buying a right back for the sake of buying a right back, or bless her, a Gemma Evans who we can just throw out at left back and never let her play her best no matter what. We've actually gone, you know what, we'll just cover it with what we've got and make sure that we bring the right person in the next window. And I think if they do that, I don't really think you can argue with that. I think that's a sound and sensible way to go forward if you're trying to build. It might mean that we don't do as well as we'd like to this season, but I think if I can see that they are actually building properly, I don't think I'd be quite as moody.
I think it depends on the winter window, to be honest. I think that's going to tell us a lot. And to be honest, I tweeted this at the time. We will talk about the game in just a second, but I think Truth made the point. I don't know why we loaned Kira Barry and Evie Rabjon. If we knew that the squad and we weren't going to get the players over the line, I believed that we were going to get another defender, which is why I said the Rabjon move was good. Now that we didn't, I'm a bit like, well, we should have just kept her then, because it's another player, an experienced player as well. I know she's young, but she has experience before even coming to United, Aston Villa and so on. So I think that's the question I ask now. I'm like, well, there was no point because they would have played, especially Rabjon. She would have played a lot more, I think, than maybe some of the other players that are kind of on the fringe. So yeah, that's the question I asked. I just think I don't know. It's a strange one, but I hope she does well at Sunderland. Well, both of them do well at Sunderland and hopefully come back to us better players as well.
Do you think that they were maybe thinking they were going to get someone and it just didn't quite get over the line? Because you look at the way Skinner said things about getting it sorted for the winter window, maybe there was someone in mind, and looking at the the last minute transfers, I can't see it being anyone that's been signed or anything elsewhere. But do you reckon that's maybe part of the reason?
I would say by his interview it was. Because, I was told a couple of days before the deadline they're still after a defender. So they definitely were trying or looking at somebody, I don't know who that is, or looking at getting a defender in, which is why I said on the show before the deadline day I was hopeful that they would get one because that was the plan. But obviously they didn't. And I think that's where Barry's point is right, that rather than just panic buying somebody and then they turn out to be a bad signing, wait until you can get the player that you want. Leaves us a bit thin, and I'd rather have kept Evie if this was going to be the case. But we are where we're at now. And
my sources tell me that we had offered on Abatier £500 a week and a cheeky Nando's, but she turned it down.
Turned it down? I'll be accepting that.
I've accepted it as well, but apparently scoring 16 goals over in Spain was a bit more fun for them.
There we go. Right, let's move on to the game itself then, because we had a bit of we did have a quick start, and my personal view is I think part of this was because the amount of games we've got. I think it looked like to me that we wanted to just blitz Leicester from the start and just get the game done as early as possible. I'll start with you, Charlie, first this time. Just your this could be a little tongue twister me. Your thoughts on the first, I guess 10 before the goal really, in terms of that quick start that we had, because we had a couple of chances. Toone had a couple of chances herself before she got the goal.
Oh yes, she had a really good chance, didn't she? That was the link-up play that I was talking about with her and Malard, and then a really similar opportunity later in the game where the goalkeeper just did really well, made herself really big and did a Peter Schmeichel-esque block, didn't she, twice? It felt inevitable. Watching it from home, it felt like it was inevitable we would score at some point. Because Leicester, I worry for Leicester. Well, I don't care. But if I was a Leicester fan, I would worry about them because they showed very little and it looked quite easy for us. I still think there's things we could have done better. I still think if we're a bit more clinical, decision-making at times maybe wasn't quite where it should be. It could have been 4 or 5 before half-time, couldn't it? But we were certainly the team on top. And I think you're right. I think once we'd gone a couple of goals in front, making fun of me, we sort of went back into second gear, I think. But yeah, it was a quick start from us. We were the far superior side. What was interesting as well was in the game against Hammarby in particular, you saw the work that Zijotti and Miyazawa had to do. They didn't have to do much. You didn't see them having to harry or close down because Leicester just weren't doing very much. It was almost like Leicester would come into the game thinking, right, how do we keep this score as low as possible? Whilst our players had a good start, but probably also had one eye on midweek when he's probably going to play the same starting 11, if we're being honest. But yeah, far better side. Am I only allowed to talk about the bit before the goal?
Yeah, I'm going to come to the goal as a
separate fine. That's the end. Next.
On Leicester as well, this is a question I asked Zoe on the preview, because obviously recently changed manager as well. They were kind of a bit of an unknown. I didn't really know what to expect from them, to be honest. It's like they've changed manager 10 days before the start of the season. You're a bit like, okay, well, now what? Then they sign 4 players on deadline day. It's like, what's the plan here? Where are they going? So I didn't really know what to expect, although I have still got them tipped to go down. But Beth, I guess throw it over to yourself in terms of just that that first, I guess, section before the goal itself. Were you, I guess, impressed with what you saw there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we came out like all guns blazing. It felt like we just had a mission. We just wanted, like you said, get it over the line as soon as possible. We were not letting Leicester have the ball, any space, anything like that. We were aware of what we needed to get done as soon as possible. I think a lot of that comes down to our pre-season and the fact that obviously we've already played more games than most teams anyway, so maybe our link-ups are a lot better than other teams. You know, like the fact that we can have those link-ups already with your first game is quite impressive to see. Obviously, we've still got little bits where, you know, communication might not be there, but you're going to find that at the beginning of the season. Anything where you might feel like, oh, I almost wouldn't be that worried about it at the minute, because at the end of the day, it's the first game of the actual WSL season. So I think, if anything, it just showed the positivity of coming out like that. Just shows almost that all the players want to play for us, which I know sounds silly, but it's quite a big thing to make sure, you know, you've got that passion and strength on the squad at all times anyway.
I think that's a good point, actually, in terms of the in relation to the quick start, but the fact that we have played already 2 competitive games, you know, in PSV and Hammarby, so we are a little bit ahead, I guess, of where other teams are at in terms of, because our competitive season has already started, so the players are already, I guess, hitting the ground, you know, running going into a WSL season. Yeah, Barry, same question to yourself, really.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points to make on this one, which have already been made. The first one is, of course, the fact, as you say, we've already had a few games, and the games meant something. They're not just pre-season friendlies where it's all about, let's just get the minutes in the legs and get all that. No, this was, you know, your season depends on us getting through to at least the Europa Cup on this one. So that was quite important. But I think the second thing is, and I'm afraid it does temper and underline everything that we are talking about today, which is, of course, it's Leicester. Everybody that I've spoken to has tipped and nominated Leicester. Sorry, I know that it's very near you, Charlie, but people saying they played like a championship side, and that's because I can very much see them losing to whichever team finished third in the championship, because the rate they are at the moment and the decline that we're seeing from them isn't good. So I think we do have to temper it with the fact that Leicester are probably going to be whipped regularly in this league, possibly even by the likes of Spurs. So quite important to point that out, I think. With regards to the quick start, though, incredibly good, very impressed. I would give it 7.5 out of 10. And I think that Charlie is spot on. That theme, I think, is going to be prevalent throughout the game, and of being a bit more clinical and a little bit better with the placement of our shots. But other than that, spot on, just what we needed.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's a good point on that, because, well, as I said, you know, Leicester, I think, will struggle this season anyway. Siobhan makes a good point about not going down there because of the way the relegation works this season. They can finish bottom and still not go down because of the way it works. We're playing third place in the championship. So they might actually stay up in that respect, but they're not going to finish any higher.
They are literally playing like a team. I know it's only been one game, but they are playing like a team that has literally targeted that game as being the game they need to play well for.
It was weird though, wasn't it? Like they didn't even like. It was Roy Keane that said, didn't he? If you're playing a team that's better than you, like just go in on someone, like put a challenge in. Like, I mean, I'm glad they didn't, obviously, but as a Leicester fan, I'm looking at it and going, like, put a challenge in, like, put a little bit, I don't know, just show a little bit of fight, but there was not much there. And I agree with people that decided it was only Leicester, but I would also, and obviously it would be much more difficult opposition we face, and one of them could be next weekend. We don't know what's going to happen with London City Lioness as they start to click. But they've got a dreadful central midfielder now, haven't they? So just target her. Don't like to take any set pieces. But again, I'm pretty adamant that we didn't really get out of second gear as well. Like, I don't think for much of the game we were like properly going for it in fifth gear. I think we were just in second, third gear at best. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think it's No, I literally got nothing to add on that one. So we'll move on to the first goal because I think it's what's Charlie laughing at? A comment or I don't know.
No,
Anyway,
just you. Literally nothing to add. Move on.
It's because you cover everything. That's the good thing about being a host. If you guys cover everything that I don't need to say, then that's it. I can move on then. But Ella Toone got the opener, and obviously a special moment for her as well, as has already been pointed out. Obviously, a year on from a father's passing as well. So I think it was quite fitting actually that she got the opener and the first WSL goal for us this season. So Barry, I'll start with you first on this one. In terms of the Toone first goal.
Okay, very good. Well, I thought it was very nicely done. A bit fortunate, of course. Now, it's one of those things that's a lovely little sandwich, really, because the start of it's brilliant and the finish of it is brilliant. The middle of it is comical, but worked out very well. So Melvine doing incredibly well. Superb, getting the ball down the left-hand side, does what she needs to do. Nice little 1-2 with Her Majesty, and then fluffs the shot entirely, but manages not to fall over it, which is incredibly good. So a little bit of magic there from Melvine Malard, who did superb work. Eventually the ball ends up with Toone, and she was never going to miss. Listen, Toone's been on fire. Again, this is where the absolute delight of having already played and having had the Euros as well for some of our players is that they are very much locked on and locked in on what they need to do. I think it was just the sort of finish that we need. But I do have a question to throw back to you. I don't really know when the best point was to ask you this one, but it comes down to their goalkeeper, RB Leipzig, who we've spoken about many times before. And I can just remember having good conversations with you, Connor, about how good you thought she was going to be. Now, I'm not about to try and take the mickey out of you, because I genuinely do respect everything you got to say. All of these things that I was watching, she did get a hand to most of it. So my question back to you was going to be, do you think she's just being let down? And how much longer do you think she can stay at somewhere like Leicester? Because she gets a hand to that one. She gets a hand to the one that Terland shoots and just puts it onto the post. She gets a hand to the second one as well. She's put ones onto the bar over. I mean, it probably could have been, you said, who's your player of the match? I think I'd probably pick her, because I reckon we'd have hit double figures if it wasn't for her. So, yeah, I just kind of wondered what your thoughts on her was, because, like, well,
yeah, I mean, I don't think she had her best. Sounds well. I've never been asked about an opposition player on a reaction show before. No, I mean, I still stand by. She's an exceptional keeper for me. I mean, is there a bad German keeper? I swear that they're just like any German keeper that comes through. They're just always good anyway. I think she needs to move to a better team, to be honest. And she had much better offers as well, but she chose Leicester because of game time. I don't think she's had I don't think she was amazing. I think she definitely kept the score lower. I agree with you. It would have been a lot more than that. From that point of view, I don't think she stays there past this season, to be honest. And I think she goes. Oh, Lanzel's with me. Goes in Jan or in the summer, I think. So, I think she left Bayern for game time. Obviously went to Leicester. I can see her moving up, either moving up the WSL to a team that's in mid-table, or going back into Europe and with a team elsewhere. So yeah, I agree with you. I think she definitely kept the scoreline down, because she saved the Toone first one. There was another one in the second half. She comes out, claims everything. She's quite a tall keeper as well. So yeah, I would have had her. Well, I said it on the show 2-3 years ago before we got Fallon. I would have taken her at United. I wouldn't now because we got Fallon in goal. But yeah, I don't know. I've completely lost my train of thought now. That really threw me off. Beth, Charlie, anything to add on the Toone goal and just getting the opener?
Yeah, I guess like you've both said anyway, the touches from Malard just to get to that point were beautiful. I almost knew from that moment something was going to come from it. I don't want to instantly go, oh yeah, it's going to be a goal. But like, you knew that there was a big opportunity there as soon as she came through like that, and it was just really well kept and dealt with by everyone. But like you said, it's just really nice that Toone managed to get that first goal. And it's quite nice to see us be a bit cleaner with it in that sense as well.
Do you feel like in the couple of games, obviously competitive games, we've watched them as well, it feels like when the ball's being played into the box or we're getting forward, it feels like we're flood filling the box. It feels like it's like full of red shirts because that ball comes in, doesn't it? And you've got Malard knocking about, Terland who on the stretch gets the ball, Toone's there, I think Jotti's there, I think Bizet's there. Bizet almost nearly scored as well, didn't she? There was that chance where I don't know what happened. I think the defender did quite well. But it does mean that, like, even though Toone scuffs it, it's still really awkward for the goalkeeper because there's so many bodies around. It's difficult for her to work out where it's going to go. And I do think that that's a nice change that I've noticed is the number of bodies into the box. Because again, last year at times Terland was quite isolated. And again, I know we'll get to it, but I think what helped, it was bad defending, but with her goal, what helped is there were other bodies in the box occupying the centre backs, which helped.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, it's a good point, Mike. It's a good play on words there because it definitely was flooded. I actually turned to earlier and said that's a good job. LSV's got a good drainage system because otherwise I think the game was close to being called off if that was anywhere else. With that one, so I like that, Mike. That was a good comment. But I do agree, and Zagotti on was someone. She is the deep line midfielder, but she is always in the box. She's right up there with Toone for the most part, or she'll sit and Heaney goes forward. And I said this after the Hammarby game that it's very much a thing of they know where each other's one goes, the other sits, and it's really good to see from that one as well. And we're putting a lot more crosses in now, first time as well. We need to work on our crosses a little bit. I don't think the two wingers had their best game in terms of crosses.
Melvine was struggling, wasn't she? Melvine ballooning it. There was one point when the commentator went, "Oh, it's just a little bit long from Melvine Malard," and the other commentator was like, "I think you're being quite kind there," but she knew, didn't she? She knew that'll come. Yeah,
exactly. She didn't play all that much, from.
No.
Well, to be fair, we didn't cross that much from the left side last season anyway. Everything came down the right. So it's good to see that we're trying at least from the left. And as we'll talk about when we get to the third goal, it was a cross from the left that got that one anyway.
Actually, also with that though, you've got to think about again the way in which you're doing things, and actually, if Malard and CBD are just going to go into the box and sort of do the cutbacks, and you've got people at left back and right back who can put in those nice floaty crosses or the direct ones that are straight on people's heads, that's fine by me as well. Not everybody has to be able to do everything, as long as you've got the people that can do it, because you're not expecting Jade to go darting into the box, take on 4 players and then roll the ball back for the Majesty to smack in the back of the net. So, horses for courses. Not that they're horses, of course.
I think it's just the consistency, knowing that we've got quite a bit of versatility now, the way it looks anyway, by having that many bodies in the box, but who are willing to, it sounds daft again to say like willing to score, but they've got the confidence to score. And I think it goes a bit back to what you were saying, Barry, about maybe the ones that have been in the Euros, even if they, didn't quite make it to the quarterfinals or anywhere like that far, they've played out of season and they've managed to build up confidence elsewhere as well, which I think's really helped get those bodies in the box and basically be closer to scoring and scoring where we can.
Yeah, I agree with both what you're saying, actually. I think the crossing ability, will come from certain players. I feel sorry for you, earlier, because now you stand next to me at games, you hear all my live complaining, and corners is a big one for me at the minute, because there is nothing that frustrates more than the corner that doesn't get over the first player, or, as happened yesterday, twice goes into the side netting. Like, come on.
I'll just say, if we did an AFU 5-a-side team, you would go on the front post every single time, because nobody is ever clearing that quiff. Ever. That would just be Bob. Connor's got the ball. You wouldn't even need to jump, mate. It'd be awesome.
I'll take that. But yeah, our corner ability is that needs to work. Sandberg's corners are quite good, but she went off in the second half, and yeah, our corners were pretty poor after that. Well, they were poor anyway. I thought all round, which is not good, really, on that one. Right, we'll move on to the second goal because it was Terland again. I put a little poll out on Instagram before the game asking people, do we think Terland's going to score? Is she going to score multiple or no? And about 85% said yes, and the other 15 said she's going to score multiple. So, yeah, I guess everyone was right who voted on that poll. But Beth, I'll come back to you first. Start with you first in this one. Sorry. That's horrendous. Play, Brandon. That's good.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it was really well played again. I think it's the fact that Terland can be so strong in those moments as well. That just means that, you know, she's able to get in the end of it and almost like bully the defenders out of it. So it makes it a lot easier. You know, they did give her quite a bit of space, but again, does it come back down to I'm not trying to be negative about scoring a goal, but does it come down to the quality of the opposition in that sense? You know, it was really well played by both Toone and Riviere, making sure they had the space again to pass it over. But yeah, just making sure she was right in the right place at the right time, and that it was just clear cut again.
And I think we didn't see this a lot last season, but you could see the blueprint was there. We were trying it, but we never really saw the goal. But the one that it's reminding me of, Charlie, I'll come to you on, same one, and then Barry obviously follow in on this one. But this goal reminded me, I think it was at Villa, where Jade kind of crosses it from that similar kind of position. It's a Terland header and it's into the corner, into the bottom corner. So yeah, just the fact that, I guess following on from that, the fact that Terland's off the mark already in the WSL, she's already got 4 in Europe. And Jade's off the mark with an assist already in the first WSL game.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Obviously, like I said, the cross was from really deep, which probably makes it a little bit unexpected. I think just before I'd got in touch with you two and said Jade, there wasn't much attacking threat on the right-hand side from Jade, which might have been deliberate to protect her a little bit. And Bizet was inverting in. She was cutting in quite a lot, wasn't she? But yeah, it was a great delivery. And I think I said earlier, you know, she was sort of left all on her own by the Leicester defence, but she's still got a fair bit to do, and she does the right things and she heads it down to the corner. And I think if it's a little bit more central, it's comfortable for the goalkeeper. And again, yeah, I think I agree with that. It's another one. What's she on 5 now in 3 competitive games? It's brilliant for her. So she's nearly on. She got half the number of goals that she got last year potentially. Certainly in the league anyway. Not in the league, but the 5 she's got is half of what she got in the league last year. So yeah, really pleased that, and obviously unlucky that it wasn't a second. I think her other chance came just before then, when she got through on goal. She worked really hard, and I think probably on second viewing should have played that chance. You know, the one there, like, so got a hand on it and knocked it onto the post. I think probably on second, if she had another chance at that, she would have gone across the goal perhaps, rather than to the near post. But yeah, just really pleased for her. As long as she's scoring, I'm not fussed how it happens. That's what you want from your striker, isn't it? Whether it's a bundled one, whether it's a rocket. Tapping, I'm not fussed. The important thing is she's scoring, and as long as she's scoring, that keeps her confidence really high, and it creates confidence from the players trying to deliver the ball to her that she's going to score. So they're going to play that. We talk about the first time ball, play it quickly. They trust that she's going to get on the end of it. Whereas we, again, maybe a little bit lacking in that last year. So another nice change that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Charlie and Beth have pretty much covered everything on the goal there. What I would, I suppose, briefly add to it would be just the amount of time that she had. Like, she was so alone. It was absolutely unbelievable. There was nobody within a 500-mile radius of her. It was like when somebody's in a lift and someone drops one and everybody just moves to the edge of the lift to try and escape. And that's exactly what was going on there. Nobody near her. And you could tell how much time she had, because she literally looks at the ball and she looks at the goal and goes, where do I want to put that then? Looks at the ball again and goes, bosh, have one of them. And she's got so much time. She puts it perfectly in. And I think this is part of what we're talking about, is that ability to be able to take a moment to know where you're going to put the ball and then deliver on that. These girls have absolutely got the quality to be able to do that. I think sometimes they feel a bit rushed. When they rush their decisions, they don't necessarily manage to get the quality of finish that they would like to get, because they can't necessarily always get the accuracy. You know, it's very easily done to miss those sorts of things. So I think that is an important thing to get in there. But I do just want to point out with Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth III that it was the bit before the goal that I think I really, really enjoyed, because there was a moment, again, I brought it up earlier, where the ball was saved onto the post. And prior to that, and you're going to enjoy this, Connor, because I get the chance to try and pronounce a name of somebody I've got no idea how to pronounce. I've tried having a go in my head. It's not working. But then number 6, Celeste. That bit was easy. Brie. Anyway, Celeste. She struggled. Honestly, Elisabeth Terland bodies her just straight in. And that's what I'm loving about watching Elisabeth Terland so far this year. She is a woman on a mission. She's not allowing herself to be bullied. She wants to create that space. She wants to be around. And, you know, straight up, I think she was one of our best players today in that game without any question whatsoever, because she wasn't just looking to be brought into the game. I felt like she was a conduit as well. So she was getting the ball. She was spraying it out left, spraying it out right. I honestly, such a mature performance from the whole front line, I thought there. And again, just that ability to get a bit of space and to put herself about a bit, just what we need. It was like watching a mini Rachel Williams.
I think on turn as well, every time I look at the stats after the game, she pretty much every single game, she has got the least touches out of anyone that's on the pitch. And I think that's important as well. Like, that's clearly the tactic, I guess, to just let her be an out-and-out striker, which is what we need anyway. But yeah, I think she's got... I messaged someone about a couple of hours after the game. The first thing I said was how sharp she looks. You know, physically, she looks quicker. She certainly looks stronger. And, well, obviously 5 goals and, well, 6 goal involvements because she got an assist as well. But 5 goals is brilliant for her. And yeah, I predicted, we said on the last show, I predicted that she's going to get 20 plus. Well, I actually said 25 plus. And she's certainly on the way for that if she can continue this form, and particularly if she can stay fit. Barry, I'll come back to you first then on this one, because I'm going to swap it every single time. The third goal, second half, it's Melvine Malard who got this one. And it's a Janssen cross. Janssen was, I guess, well, she was moved to left back by this time with the subs that were made when Turner came on and Sandberg came off. So yeah, if you want to start us off with this one.
Yeah, I thought Mel had a really good game as well. I think she was, the first half, much more industrious, trying to help and build the play. She absolutely just dominated at the very end there with some great goals. And she'd had some moments like prior to that. There was one where she drags the ball wide, and we're just talking about how Queen Elizabeth does the business. And she absolutely did. She puts the ball out to Mallard a little bit earlier. She's on the left-hand side, and it is completely one-on-one. Like, all she had to do was get it on target. And she drags it wide using her left foot, which I was a little bit disappointed about, really, because I felt like she had a huge amount of time to be able to deal with that. Obviously, we have the 3 substitutions. Jess Park comes on, and I think she makes a huge difference to how that front line operates as well. They were just so slick, just moving around the front line, filling in for each other. And I'll tell you what I really think. I know that you wanted me to talk about Melvine Malard, but since when have I ever followed your rules? What I really love about this football club in the last few games that I've watched is that it really is a team that is working for each other now. It doesn't look like there's too many egos in there that are wandering about just trying to be there for themselves or to make themselves look better. I really do think we've had a lot of that. And looking at how that front line is working for each other, I think is absolutely amazing. I'll get back to that bit on the 4th goal. But as far as the actual 3rd goal goes, the cross by Dominique is absolutely superb. Celeste plays a starring role in this one, because I don't know what she's doing when she defends, but to be honest with you, she just looked like she wanted a cuddle, to be honest. She knew that she was absolutely done, that Mel was going to get to that ball, and that's it. She just cuddles her, just like, don't head it in. But she did, and it was absolutely superb. I loved it. Genuinely, absolutely loved it. She's in there, in between the goalkeeper and Celeste, and then boom, straight in, heads it in. Like, there's not really much else to say. It's exactly the same as the second goal, just the other side. But again, if you've got 2 fullbacks that can do those crosses for you, that's superb. Because at that point, they know that actually, in some ways, works a lot better. Because some people would just think, if you've just got a forward line that's running down there, you're just going to close that player down. Now you can't just close that player down, because if they decide to they could pass the ball back, in which case your fullback's going to whip in a cross that's absolutely deadly, or they're going to make you look like a prime muppet, get past you and put the ball back. So that the Queen Elizabeth, honestly, I'd be terrified if I was a defence right about now, and I don't care which club you're for, because that is a few more questions that you've got to answer about Manchester United that you haven't had to answer before.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing I'm worried about at the moment is Charlie's still with us on the stream, because her camera's glitching out. I don't know whether that's just me, but I think she's still there. It looks a bit laggy to me, and she's definitely lagging now she's talking.
So we go on my phone.
You do whatever is going to make
You're
you
the
see.
boss. You're the boss.
I can't control what device you use. It's up to you. Whichever you think is going to work.
But I go on my phone if it's annoying.
As long as you can hear and we can hear you, I think that's fine. It's just your camera.
I don't want to look unprofessional.
I thought we're way past that on this channel.
I'm doing this on my Dell laptop. I'll talk about Melvine quickly, and then I'll transfer my phone out if it doesn't improve, because it had been fine, hadn't it? I love Melvine. She's one of my absolute favourite players, and I've always backed her to play more, and then I think she's not lived with expectations. She's been quality these last few games, really, really good. I think people are right. I think she's been much more physical. There's a couple of people talking about that, and it's all play is amazing, which allows her to go on the overlap, which is what we're after. How good is she as well, by the way? Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, true. I love all those things. They were reminiscent of when she scored against City for last season to get us Champions League, when she did all of the celebrations when she scored. She's just brilliant, I think. And again, probably rightly took a little bit of stick last year for not taking opportunities. That one against Chelsea will always bother me. But yeah, it's good to see her scoring. And again, it allows Terland to play with a little bit of freedom, because it takes the pressure off. She's banging the goals in. Mallard's doing her bit as well. And I fully expect her to maintain her position. Midweek when we play SK Bran, I thought she was amazing. Loved her.
No, definitely. Your camera and everything came back towards the end of that, so that was quite good. But these comments were killing me.
Really?
Mike came in with that one, and then puzzled time again. It's like a venture question. We couldn't really see it. We could just hear you.
Keep me updated. At least it didn't stop me doing like a mad face. It's just a normal talking face. But let me know if it goes bad again, guys, and I'll sort it out.
You're back to normal now, anyway, so that's good. Beth, throw it to you for the final word on this one before we move on to the fourth and final one.
Back to basically what Charlie was saying there, that Melvine Malard, she just seems to have I was gonna say blossomed. That sounds so ooh, but you know what I mean. She seems to have just been loving her football again. I don't know. I just felt like not that she hadn't been, but it feels like she's suddenly got this confidence. She's really enjoying what she's doing. Let's face it, she's always been quite cool, quite calm, but wasn't Barry was saying, wasn't quite taking those chances the same. Where now she's taking the chances. She's got the confidence to play with the ball a bit more. And it goes back to what we've been saying, of the fact that it does feel like everyone's playing for each other, and not just for the name Manchester United, but they're playing for each other as a team. But I think the way that, Malard is playing at the minute is purely, you can just see the joy on her. You can see that she's really enjoying that link up, and she's just having fun with the ball, which makes such a difference to it. And yeah, I think that kind of explains why she basically got the 2 goals she got as well.
No, absolutely. I literally don't have anything to add on this one. This is going well. I like having a 4-person panel again, because it means I don't really have to talk. I can just ask the questions and let you guys cover it all for me. But Beth, I'll come straight back to you on this one and go around the panel again in the same kind of order. About the fourth one, because I can't lie to you, I actually missed this live because I was too busy messaging someone at the time, and I looked and was like, oh, we've scored. So I actually missed it. That's really poor on my behalf. But Erling had to describe the goal to me, because I didn't really see it. Yeah, Malard with another one not long after.
Yeah, I mean, it was great that they were, I was going to say, so close together. I've got the times written down here. They're not quite as close together as I thought. But it was really good to see that, near the end of the game, Malard still got, and not just Malard, but a lot of them have still got the energy and strength to be going so strong still. I think, Toone's checks to make sure that Melv was there was really clever as well. But the way, for me, it was the way that Park bluffed it, so that it went straight to Malard, and easily, especially with Park only being in the team for, let's say, 2 days. I'm not too sure on the maths right now, but for us to have that communication already really proves a point as well. I think the way that Park came into the game, not late on, but quite late on as well, and having that connection it's really proved a point that she slotted it. To me, it seems like she slotted in straight away. But again, it's that confidence from Malard and them all playing together and understanding each other's roles a bit more than what I've felt like for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know whether Charlie and Barry are just going to go straight in on this one, but yeah, same question to yourself.
I read it, but it said Charlie Barry, so Charlie's next.
Oh, right.
No, it's not. It's not Barry. You shall speak. Okay. Well, if you insist, Charlie. If you insist. Now, if you remember earlier on, I said I was a little bit disappointed that Melvine Malard dragged a shot wide of the goal using her left foot. And this is why I was disappointed, because she had the time. You look at this goal, it's absolutely beautifully taken. She drags herself in right foot, curls it in. It's sublime. It's an absolutely superb goal. And she had the time to do that with this other effort as well. So it was good that she got that confidence to be able to do that in the second half, because it really was such a good result for us. But I've got to be honest, for me, again, talking about how the front line are all working together, as people talking about, is Melvine's best position in the centre or on the left? Is Rolfo going to come in and start immediately, or is Malard going to keep her place? All those sorts of things. But Jess Park, again, brilliant. And when I'm talking about working for each other, Jess Park's out there on the right. That's her position. That's where she's supposed to be. Where is she when Melvine Mallard's shaping up to take a shot? Running out to the left-hand side, so that the defenders have to pull away, because they're aware that actually we've got another person running over here, which is the spot, by the way, which Melvine Malard would usually be in. Now, I appreciate it's late in the game, but she was on obviously a lot later, so they was therefore able to, perhaps have a little bit more in the tank. But that sort of working for each other, dragging people out of the way, it's superb. And when you come up with these questions of who's going to start, listen, when you've got a front line that you can have these questions about, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I want to be having an argument as to whether or not we start Rolfo or whether we start Malard, rather than argument of why is Leah Galton started again when she's clearly struggling. I want to be having these arguments about should we start Jess Park or CBD. I want to be having these conversations because they're positive conversations to be had. And there's going to be people that go, Skinner's picking the wrong person, because we're always going to have people that say that. But these are the conversations I want to have. And although we may not necessarily have the full depth that we want in various positions, because it is tentative, for the most part, this is absolutely the conversations that all Manchester United fans should be wanting to have.
No, I agree. I will come back to Jess Park. I want to add I want us to have the final word, I guess, on her. I agree, Mike. I apologise. I'm just going to move you both back, because that doesn't it doesn't look right. Charlie's usually on the right side when we do this.
Just because Charlie's always right.
Yeah, I should probably say yes, shouldn't I? But just go along with that. But Charlie, when you get to rewatch this show back, you dipped out then at the exact time when Barry was saying you go first. It was almost instantaneous. Charlie, you speak, gone.
I could hear it. It was like it was just really tinny, so I just had to go for it. I thought there's no time for platitudes. Just get off, get your phone on, and get back as quick as you can. We're talking about Jess Park, aren't we?
Well, we're talking about the fourth goal, but Jess Park's obviously involved in it.
Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about Jess Park. I was really excited when we signed her. Okay, and I'm going to tell you genuinely what I messaged someone and said, and it might have been one of you two. I'm going to say it in public. Come at me if you want, but I said we've come out with a better player here. That's what I think. I said before, I was always nervous when United were playing and she was on the pitch. I think she is technically so good. And I think I heard Barry saying what's really nice is how quickly she moves that ball. there's no faffing around. It's she receives it and she goes and she drives and she tries to make something happen, or it's a give and go and she's passing the ball off and she's getting into a new position to receive it if she needs to. She's just technically a really, really, really talented footballer and technically very, very good. And again, she's another one, isn't she? We've talked about Sejotti, Miazar were technically very good, Toone technically very good, Park technically very good. And it's Barry's right, it's such good options to have. And with her coming in on the right with Muzzy Bizzett and then Mallard and Rolfo on the left, that's really exciting, I think. And when those four are at their best, are playing at their best, I don't think it matters which combination of those you have, because I don't think it will affect, if they're at their best, the quality of that forward line. So I'm really excited by her. And the crowd definitely were as well. I know a new signing is exciting, but she just made things happen. And she's done that for Man City for quite a while. And I think the disappointment that from their fan base with her going, and not just because she was coming to us, but I think just her going generally, they were disappointed with that. I think she's a really good player. I think that's a really good signing. And I think it's a positive sign that she's been signed 2 sessions later. She's on the bench and she's playing, because again, that's always a little bit of a worry with Skinner. And that's also a really good sign with Jotti as well, that she's come straight in and played. So he's clearly got faith in these players and they make us better, I think. And we talk about wanting to buy in players that make us better. And even if the whole overall window hasn't been as fruitful as we would like it to be, the 3 players we've got in make us better. And I think we can't overlook that, really.
It's something we've spoken about for years on this channel, about improving your 11, and your bench will get stronger by doing that. Because you improve your 11, those players that were starting drop to the bench, and your bench is automatically stronger. And I think this summer we've certainly done that. I was really impressed when Jess came on, because I think I brought the comment up a second ago. The way she just drove with the ball, she picks it up really deep and just runs and doesn't hold on to it for too long. I found the only thing I wish we would see a bit more is, and this isn't just a her thing, this is a lot of players, just shoot from the edge of the box a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't like this. We get to the edge of the box a lot, and there's always like a shooting opportunity. It's like, especially 3-4 up, just hit it, and we're trying to like just play it through, and it's just like, come on, just every so often, just have a shot. And free kicks as well. Here we go. I'm going off on a little tangent here. 2 free kicks we had that were within shooting range, and both times we tried to like clip it into the back post or clip it into someone. Have a shot. Like, you're within. It was, I think the first one in the first half was about 25-ish yards or something like that. That's prime taken for a good free kick taker, which we've got, by the way. We got a couple of them. I don't know why we don't. So that was the only criticism. Maybe just shooting a little bit more, because they've got the talent. The ability's there. It's not an ability thing. They're clearly being told not to, but that's just a slight, small gripe. No. But there we go.
I think, sorry, Connor, going back to what Charlie was saying about, it's like, by having Park, having these new players, it's almost given us a good problem of not, who do we play in this position, but like, we're now going, do they play now or do they play later? It's good that we've now got this problem where you've got 4 or 5 combinations that will work really well together. I think that's a good thing going forward as well, because hopefully if we play this way, and we can change it up all the time, obviously we don't know what will happen until like those days, but it means that teams won't know what United team they're getting on that day and who to start with. So because we're then having that versatility, it means that we're not as predictable as, let's face it, we have been the last few years, where you pretty much know you're going to get the same starting 11, I'd say 9 out of 10 times. Now, because it looks like we won't have that problem, it almost gives us something else that another team might not have.
I agree, and I think you've got to have different dynamics, especially in attack, because otherwise you become very one-dimensional and very easy to defend against. And I think we've certainly got that now, with the kind of different options that we've got in terms of those ones as well. So, yeah, I think it's just good all round. And I think I'm going to bring it up. It's funny because you almost said word for word that exact same thing to Potsdam yesterday when you saw me in the bread after the game. So I'm glad you said it on here as well. So I thought I'd bring that one up. But yeah, as well, got straight on and got a brilliant reception as well when she came on. as well, which was she was always going to, but that was good to see. And Brandon, I will just say, we're all waiting here for eagerly anticipating how you're going to finish off that sentence, because
like I genuinely, I will not sleep tonight unless you finish this sentence, because I've got no idea. I'm presuming it's going to be burger, but I've got no idea. It could be pizza. Like I'm honestly on tenterhooks. I've missed most of what Beth said there, so I'm like just watching the chat. Like, what's it going to be? And no, you haven't finished. Finish it off, man. Help me out.
So we're waiting on that one. While we do, is there anyone else that anyone wants to highlight in terms of a standout play? I'm literally just checking that. That's why I was trying to ask a question before I got there.
Fingers crossed she's playing left back.
Let's have a look. Not that I disbelieve you, James, of course, but I thought I'd fact check it before I announce it to the world. So she has. Yeah, number 4. There she is. She was at Marseille for like a month.
A day. What? Well, that was so weird. Is it literally because they all started fighting?
Something happened, didn't it? It wasn't fully reported, but
No. Weird. So strange. How old is she now?
I feel like I don't want to put an age on it. I want to say she's 30.
On it or on her?
32.
How old is she? 32, right? She's a little bit younger than I thought.
There we go.
Interesting. I wonder if they signed her as a starter.
Potentially. Wait and see on that.
I don't mind that then.
Before we kind of come to player and match and all those kind of things, I will just bring this comment up because I felt so sorry. If they might be watching this in terms of their parents, but whoever's birthday it was, but 32 was that? I thought it was a kid. Oh, you're on about Maria. Sorry, I'm two comments together there, but this one made I lose my train of thought now. Anyway, I felt so sorry for the kid whose birthday this was. This got read out because you could hear the announcer stop just before he was about to say favourite player is Grace. And as soon as he said that, the collective boo around the ground for this poor kid's birthday that got read out.
What? Why is it? That's poor parenting. Why is the parent not fact checked that? Like, my daughter's 7. If I knew that this team announcer was going to ask her that, I would have said, who are you going to say? Just to be sure. Because she did like Clinton. She wouldn't say her now, but I would have fact checked it. And gone, come on now. Crazy. That's really negligent parenting there. Apologies if you're watching.
I haven't. It's because it was because the comment was from the same person. Sorry, Rebecca. Completely ruined your moment there.
Oh my god! Do you know, I've been doing this now for years, and that's it. That's the top moment. I'm gonna have to write this down as a date and a time because this is definitely appearing on the end of season somewhere. 8th of September. R.I.P. Connor.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's broken up. I feel like we should come to player of the match. But yeah, that's a good point that you brought into the comments. Thanks for that, Rebecca, and you gave us all a laugh as well. Yes, that was what I was going to ask actually. Before we get to the player of the match, is there anyone that anyone wants to highlight who's not on the player of the match poll? So on the poll, just to remind obviously the panelists, Ella Toone, Melvine Malard, Elisabeth Terland, and Anna Sandberg. Is there anyone else that any of you want to highlight that you thought had a particularly good game that's maybe just missed out on the poll that you think is worth mentioning?
I thought because I think Jade was sort of the 5th choice, wasn't she? And we sort of vetoed it at the end. But I thought she had a good game. For much of it, playing a slightly different role. We're kind of used to seeing, obviously, she tracks back really well, but we used to see her marauding forwards, aren't we? And there was less of that today. But I thought she did a job really well. I thought she shut up shop the odd time Leicester tried to attack. So I thought she had a good game. And I also think the midfield too are just, what are you laughing at now? I also think the midfield too. Beth, if you're on again, you have to get used to this because the teacher in me wants to be like, you're being rude now. We don't. My hand's raised, your hand's raised. I thought the midfield too, again, they just do such a good job, don't they? Like I said, we didn't have to get out of second or third gear, but I think everyone did their jobs pretty well. The only shaky moment for me was I think there was 2 or 3 times we played a ridiculous, unnecessary poor back pass to Fallon, whose probably only weak point is getting the ball out of her feet, and we put her under pressure sometimes and we just didn't need to. But outside of that, it was fairly comfortable for everyone. Yeah, Miyazawa, like literally Ballon d'Or for her, like best player in the world, isn't she? She's just really good every game. But I think for the moments, everyone played well, but for the moments they provided, probably got the right 4.
Look what you've caused now.
Well, I'm just talking there because you've been rude as the host, just leaving us.
Apologies. It's so bad when you start laughing and you know you shouldn't. And when you're trying hard not to laugh, it makes you laugh more. I swear. I'm
deliberately looking over there so that nobody can be laughing because of something I did. I think genuinely you could have put every single, apart from Fallon, who I don't think had anything to do other than dive once to make it look like she was actually bothered about them potentially scoring. I think the other 10, I think we're absolutely spot on, and just goes to show, as we've said all along, that the 11 is actually incredibly good and that we do have some good options. It's just what happens if anybody is out for a slightly longer moment of time. But I'm fascinated to the name on this one. I feel like next week I'm going to have to be Horseless Barry, because surely there's most of us are horseless. Like, that's the thing that we focused on. I'm a horseless person, and does this come from a show or something? Like, my head's gone. My head is gone at the moment with the 32-year-old child loving Grace Clinton and this. I'm gone. I don't know what to say.
Oh, I love Mike's comments. They're brilliant.
Hairless. Yes, Barry, hairless Barry. That would make sense. But yeah, only really need to point that out if you're blind.
Do you know what? Every time I do these shows, I always look at the analytics a few days afterwards, and I see the percentage of new viewers compared to like returning viewers, and there's always such a high percentage of new viewers. And I always think, I wonder what times they join throughout the show, and if they've clicked on in the last 15 minutes. Apologies, but this is what we like. Promise it's been a bit serious before that, and we have actually spoke about the football, but there we go. Should we come to player of the match? Because I feel like we're an hour and 7 minutes in now, and I feel like if we go any later, we're not going to be able to see Beth because it's getting particularly dark in that room.
Yeah,
so
I just hadn't put my light on. I wasn't aware, but was aware. I can't explain. I don't know.
You say you wasn't aware of the dark enveloping here.
You can see that it's like blue outside. It's that dark now. So, but yeah.
Yeah, Becky's got it. Welcome to the chaos. That's a good way of putting it. Beth, I'll start with you. I was going to say she was, to be fair. But yeah, Beth, I'll start with you before I end the poll in the chat in a second. So if you haven't voted, get on that. And I'll end that poll in about a minute's time. But Beth, yeah, who was player of the match for you?
I'm stuck between Toone and Malard, to be honest. I would probably go Toone because she was always there, if that makes sense. Like, she did her role very well, and she made sure that, you know, she was there when we were needed. She was good off the ball. Malard was brilliant, but I just think that being a bit more midfield in the way that Toone was, it just meant that she was a bit more aware in that way. It's hard. I feel like Malard had more key moments, which I'm not saying Toone didn't, because obviously she did. But Malard had a lot more key moments where Toone was just had a bit more awareness to her. So I would probably go for Toone.
Yeah. You might have convinced me that I voted for the wrong person there, because I'm very much an emotional response to things, a very much a moments person. So I voted for Malard in that sense, just because I feel like this is just going to kickstart her season. Such a great performance, and like I said, she had those 2 brilliant moments, didn't she? But I also think with her, there were facets to a game that we hadn't previously seen enough of. So being really strong in holding the ball up. And just being really, really dynamic on that left-hand side with Sandberg and creating all sorts of problems. So I went for her for that reason, all those reasons.
Well, you know me, Connor, I'm not one to to run with the crowd necessarily here, because running is not something I enjoy. But I initially asked. I thought that Jay Riviere should have been on the 4 rather than Anna Sandberg. I was diplomatically outvoted, and I shall be throwing my toys out of my pram later on. But, and that's right, I do. 43 years old, and I've got a pram. So this is obviously something that's quite normal if you're a Man United fan. I would not have gone for the winner. I actually went for Elisabeth Terland, and that is who I did vote for. I was genuinely really well known. Used to travel with a horse. I was known as Horsey Paul, and somebody stole him off his tether, but it was 35 years ago now. So I'm almost over it. All right, you're now my favourite person. I love this. That is an answer and a half. And you, sir, run the internet this evening. Well done. Love that. It was the driver. Mate, this is absolutely going. Elisabeth Terland deserves a proper reason. I think she was superb. I said at one point she was the conduit, and genuinely, I think she was. I think the fact that we were trying to get the balls into her, she was getting into the right places, bodying people, like I said, showing her power. I think you genuinely could have argued a case for either Elisabeth Terland or Melvine Malard for me. But personally, I picked
Stop it.
I can't help it.
Everything's funny now. So it's gone past you saying that horsehair thing.
What's worse, Charlie?
And now
that's basically not what happened, and I witnessed it was.
But now everything's funny. So you saying Terland bodying people. I've just got this visual in my head of her just smashing through players. Everything's funny now. You've ruined it. You've ruined us. You're right, Connor.
No, I'm not. I took a drink just as you read that comment out. I literally nearly choked then on that. That's why I turned my camera off, because no one needs to see that. Oh, my life. Oh, jeez. Anyway. So I missed everything that you just said there.
Can I just say what I absolutely love? Like Connor, I love that players of Manchester United women potentially watch bits of this and then go, yep, I'm going to go on that for an interview. Get me on there as quick as you can. Insane. But that's also why you don't let us be on them, isn't it? You don't let us be on them as well.
Could you imagine?
It would be even more chaos to say it. Oh, honestly, this has been one of the funniest 20 minutes into a show that we've ever had. Who did you go for? You said Terland, didn't you, Barry, for yours?
I did, yes.
No, the match. Yeah, I was between.
I think that's just because it was, for me, it was a different Elisabeth Terland. It's not the Elisabeth Terland of last season. This is one that's turned up, primed, ready to go, fighting for everything. You know, I just honestly, I was just impressed by her, but I've got no beef with people that have picked anything different. I think, as I said before, there are 11 great players out there.
Yeah, I think I was torn between Terland and Malard, actually. But then Toone, you can't overlook. It is a tough one, to be fair. I would have probably gone for Malard just based off, I think she was just different to what we've seen in terms of obviously got the 2 goals, was setting up chances. I think she actually did get the most chances created in the game as well. So, she was just good all round, I think, and that's great to see. In a season, where we signed... I can see all your comments. I'll come back to some of these in a second. But Malard did win it in the chat as well. 47%, Toone 36, Sandberg 9, Terland 6 on that one. So Malard is our player of the match from that point of view. Right, there's a couple of quick comments before I round this show off, because I don't think I'll be able to make it to the end of the show if I keep laughing, because I'm actually starting to feel a bit sick now. You keep laughing so much. Firstly, there was this one. Which I can't believe, Joseph. I feel a bit insulted there. Looking after a front.
Good question. I teach mathematics in a secondary school. Thanks for asking, Joseph.
Here we go. See, we get all the brains on here. Simon summed up the shows pretty well. Serious for the first 45, and then all hell breaks loose. And then Brandon's also said, you know, with 1% football, 99% chaos. That is also very true.
To be fair,
on
Connor,
the
today
Instagram
there was nobody to blame but yourself. Nobody at all. That was completely your gaff that did it. That was all you. The minute you mixed that bit up, that was just a reaction. If I was sat at home watching this, that's exactly what I would have done. Like, that was as raw as it could be. It's just unfortunate that my mic was on and you can see the fact that I was absolutely crying.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not been able to recover since then. A lot of people obviously went Malard in the chat as well, just on the player of the match. But oh jeez, I'm gonna have to go on Twitter after this and have a look at that. I'll see if I can find that when I come off here. Thanks for that, James. But there's an important question, although I already know the answer to this, because we have already asked the question privately, but I'll do it live for people who want to know the answer. Come on, Beth. What's your answer to this one? People want to know. Because you know what the question is. For new people watching, basically, very short question. I've asked players this, and any future player that I interview, I'll ask us exactly the same. How do you eat your burgers? Do you eat it with your hands, or do you eat it with a knife and fork?
Yeah, like you said, we had this conversation a few weeks back, didn't we? And I, like any normal human on this planet, said my hands. I think everyone knows the incident, but yeah.
What I find interesting here, Connor, is you're like talking to people weeks in advance, like grooming them to try and convince them that they should say otherwise.
To be fair, that out of context, that sounded a bit weird. Who brought it up? So he did kind of like throw Connor in the deep end with that one, to be fair.
I can't believe that.
It's part of the interview questions now. You know, we decided that in order to get a decent sort of clientele, I insist that they're able to eat a burger correctly.
Honestly. But yeah, so there's a few people that have joined the movement, but yeah, I was going to say that was all putting in, that's for sure. I thought this might be the response on that one, but there we go. So another one added to the wrong side of the column. We come around to do it. What? Oh, there's all kinds of things going on now. Don't say that. I don't know. Should I bring it on screen? There you go.
To be fair, it's more likely to be a moth.
I was going to say,
well, yeah. Depend. You on the ground floor or a bit higher up?
I'm on the 4th floor.
The 4th? Oh, nothing to worry about there.
I mean, the biggest problem at the minute is the absolutely huge spiders on the balcony. So we don't tend to get the flies. We just get possibly the biggest spiders in the UK.
Fun fact, if you invite Connor around, he can just walk around on the ground floor and that will both sort of dust your balcony and close your window at the same time. Just with the quiff.
So what's going on here? I can't. Oh dear. Yeah, right. Let's just wrap this show up. We'll be going all night. And yes, it is true.
Sorry, who's Scott Rogers?
New assistant. Mary.
Oh, thank you very much.
So for people who haven't seen, Charlotte at The Athletic ran the story earlier.
Who is he?
I don't know. From Liverpool.
What did CV?
Who is he?
What was his CV? Was he there against Leicester?
I think he was. Yeah, he said. I think the article said that he was in attendance. But he's from Liverpool women. I think I read I've only briefly read the piece, but I'm sure he's done it in the men's game as well. In terms of he's been assistant coaches.
What you're saying is he was at Liverpool women. He's left them, and then they got spanked 4-1 at Anfield. So that's a good sign for us. Okay. Good. Scott Rogers. It sounds like the real life name of a Marvel hero, but I think that's because of Steve Rogers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was wondering if, because to be fair, the chat have had a bit of a problem with names today. That sent me a little bit, so I wouldn't have been surprised if he was Steve Rogers at this point.
So there we go. So when it's officially confirmed, I'm sure we'll talk about. I think that's 3 assistants now we've got. Or that have got the title as assistant coach.
3. This is like private school ratios. Amazing.
So there we go.
Maybe one's a defence one, one's an attacking coach, maybe one's a set piece, and then we've got all bases covered.
Maybe.
Lovely.
So, I don't know. Yeah, there should be a disclaimer for people. What I'll do is I'll put chapters throughout the video for the serious bits, and then in the last 45 minutes I might just title chaos for people who want to stick around for that bit. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, although there's still well over 100 of you still watching this, so fair play to you for everyone that is still watching this show.
Everybody is still watching. If they want to look for an Easter egg, I swear that Connor accidentally called sandbag a little bit earlier on. But if there's a point, you can see it because my head goes. And now I'm deaf, so I sometimes pick things up wrong. But I will be going back to check as well because I'm about 90% sure that's happened.
Well, there we go. We got the VAR footage on that one. But yeah, we'll round off there. It's been a pretty good show. Hopefully, Beth, you'll come back. I know this has been a bit chaotic.
Really good to be here. I'll definitely come back. You've not scared me off, so I guess it's that.
There we go. That's what we like to hear. All of our social media platforms, All for United WFC. And a shout out to people in particular because we're getting a lot of love on the on the Instagram, obviously on the Twitter as well because of the graphic side of things. That is Mr. Andrew Wall, who is probably watching this. So all of those graphics that you're seeing at the moment on Instagram and Twitter, which are amazing, by the way. Andrew's doing all of those at the moment. Which is great to see. And we've also got another Jess in the team as well, who's taken over the TikTok on match day. So if you like all your match day content stuff, go over to the TikTok and go and give her a follow as well. She's tagged on the posts. You'll know that if they're hers because she's tagged on them. Go and give her account a follow as well. But yeah, the TikTok is All for United WFC because we're going to have a lot more match day stuff. And the stuff that's on there already is absolutely brilliant as well. So you can check out all of that from those two people as well. And as you can see, we've had a couple of debutants as well over the last few weeks as well as the shows expand and go into the season properly as well. Our next show is hopefully going to be before the brand game. I'm still trying to lock in the person that I want for that particular show to preview the brand game, who's got a bit more knowledge on the team / the league than I guess I have on that one. So that should hopefully be the latest it'll be is Wednesday evening, potentially be tomorrow. I'm still trying to finalize that one. But yeah, and we'll have a match reaction. Then we're into London City Lionesses and another match reaction after that as well. So lots of shows to look forward to. Thought not coming on the show, James. But yeah, have a good week all. Thanks for all of your comments. You've been absolutely brilliant. Every single show, genuinely. I know we kind of say this a lot, but every time we do shows, your comments are informative. They always make us laugh as well, as you've seen as we go through the shows as well. So genuinely, these shows will be absolutely nothing without you guys in the chat as well. So I appreciate all of you coming back.
For Horseless Paul. Get his horse back.
We'll set that petition up when we come off here. But yeah, thanks to these three for giving up their Mondays, for coming on as always. Beth absolutely smashed your debut, so that was brilliant to see as well. Make sure you're liking this video and subscribing if you're new around here and you haven't already. Yeah, have a good week all. We shall see you guys in the next one.